Hello Gobs and welcome back to a spooky video for Gobboween. If you're not a Gob, get subscribed so you can become a Gob in the Goblin Cave. I am bringing to you the first official, not the announcement, but the actual first video of Gobboween. Since I'm late to Gobboween this year, you know, being it the third week. But regardless, there's still plenty of time for you to plan your Halloween one-shot. Now, I know you guys out there, you're going to go ahead and play your 5e, but there are better systems out there than 5e. Unless it works for you and your group is totally fine with that. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is not to hate on 5e. It's to recommend you guys 3 more RPG systems that are just a bit better for running a horror-themed one-shot for your Halloween party this year. Before I continue, I have to say this is just a little bit of extra advice for running a horror-themed RPG. You and your group all have to be on the same page that this is going to be horror-themed. I keep saying horror, it sounds like whore. You're running a whore campaign, you're running a brothel. For your Halloween one-shot, everyone has to be on the same page. And it also helps if you set the mood. Turn off the lights, set around some candles, or put in those weird green bulbs that they sell at the store. Do all of that and turn on some spooky music. You know, set the atmosphere. And this will help your horror RPG come along. I'm sure you guys who are already into tabletop role-playing games didn't need any of that information. So I'm just going to move on to these systems. Now, all of these systems that I am recommending to you today have been in a previous video in my tier system list, which is now in the cards up above. So let's get started on our first system. I have to say this one was quite easy to pick which one to be the first, because the one that's based on a horror movie should be fairly good at being a horror themed one-shot, and that is the Alien tabletop role-playing game. Alien is a science fiction horror role-playing game, obviously based on the Alien franchise, so this should perfectly go into making your one-shot. I should say it only works if you and your group are a big fan of aliens. But with it being Halloween night, you guys could sit and watch the first, second one. I don't remember which one was the bad one, but don't watch that one. The first 2 are pretty good, but you guys could watch those movies and then go and play the system so everyone's in the same mind when you run through your Halloween Alien one-shot. The game itself plays fairly well. My friend bought a quick start guide, which you guys can also go buy, not sponsored. I was trying to slip that in there. Whatever. But you could go buy this quick start guide. You don't even need to buy the entire core rulebook. I think that's usually how these quick start go. They give you a rundown on the rules, pre-gen character sheets, and also they'll give you the module to run through. But if you are more of a fan of doing your own thing, you could always pick up the core rulebook and make a one-shot based on the first movie, second movie, on any of the movies, or you could even make it based on the game Alien Isolation if you've played through that before. So that's just a little bit. I think Alien is probably really good if you're part of the science fiction. If you like that science fiction aspect, even the body horror. In the quick start guide, there's kind of like a game of deception going on. Everyone has their own motives, and it's really fun to role play out those motives. Don't be on the nose with it, but you know, it's like a secret mission. Like one of the people is set on there to kill all the others. One person's an android. One person has to take down the alien at any cost, and you get all these other little roles. Obviously, you kind of have to be you don't have to be super great at roleplay, but this isn't for a face-smashing combat shooting campaign because it's Alien. You're probably not going to kill the alien unless you get really, really lucky. So if you and your group are a big fan of the Alien franchise or are planning on watching it that night, I would recommend picking up the Alien Quick Start Guide or Rulebook and designing your Halloween one-shot around it. But I understand if science fiction isn't your thing and you want a more down-to-earth system where possibly player characters can lose their sanity and go insane, I am recommending the Call of of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game. This is a horror, investigative, heavy role-playing tabletop RPG system. Players will assume the role of investigators, investigating deep, dark secrets and eldritch beings, the occult. And you, being the lore keeper, will play such cult fanatics. You will be the one lurking in the dark, playing these eldritch beings that are beyond human comprehension. This system is a very good system if you guys are heavy role players, as I said. There's a lot of role playing that goes into this because it's not combat heavy. It's investigative. You're investigating secrets, solving puzzles, connecting clues, trying to figure out what's at the bottom of this all. And with the sanity system, experiencing bouts of temporary insanity or even permanent insanity if you lose too much sanity in one roll, makes this really fun for you to roleplay more down-to-earth characters. You're playing normal everyday people, doctors, cops, construction workers, cooks, butlers, all sorts of people from all walks of life. You're just a normal everyday Joe and experiencing these insane moments such as seeing a dead body. Most people probably haven't seen a dead body in their life. So when your character in the game is hit with this, they can lose sanity and even experience temporary bouts of insanity, such as being obsessed with pyromania. Now, don't drag these out. Don't overplay them. Play them subtly depending on how it's given, unless your lore keeper takes over. Then that's when stuff can go crazy. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm not going to dive deep into the game mechanics. Just know it's a horror investigating system based on H.P. Lovecraft's famous... Did I say crap? H.P. Lovecraft's famous Call of Cthulhu story. It also entails other eldritch beings. You don't even need to have an eldritch being. There's 2 one-shots in the back of the book. There's 1 or 2 in the book. I'm sure you could find more online, and I'm sure they're pretty cheap. There'll be another quick start guide for this one. Again, none of this is sponsored, but I'm just trying to give you guys some Halloween one-shot ideas. This is probably the good thing about Call of Cthulhu, is that it's really open-ended. You could do a lot with it without having to be tied to one thing. Such as the previous thing, you could only run alien. I mean, I'm sure there's other little creatures out there in the alien universe to run around, but for the most part, it's set in the alien franchise, and in the next system I'm about to introduce, it's only set in that place as well. So Call of Cthulhu is a pretty open-ended for writing your own themed Halloween one-shot. Now guys, I understand you're probably thinking, Goblin King, these books are expensive and I have to sit down and read it all. Halloween's in less than 20 days. Well, fear not. I have a cheap book that even the working man can read in about 1 hour. This next system is set in the Japanese culture of around 1880s, based around the mythical yokai of Japan, or even Asian culture entirely. Mostly Japan. It's mostly a Japan thing, but I've seen other things, especially on the yokai website. This next book is Yokai Hunter Society. It's fairly cheap on Amazon. The book itself is only about 30 pages, and it's not even all rules. It's character creation and not a lot of lore, but some lore in there, and then the actual rules. The rules are very light, if you couldn't tell from the amount of pages in the book, but the rules are very light, and they promote describing your actions and only making rolls when they would impact the story, such as failing the roll moves the story along just as much as succeeding the roll will. This system promotes heavy roleplay where your players will assume the role of the yokai hunters working in the Yokai Hunter Society. You get to set how well known the society, or if everyone thinks they're just a myth amongst people. It's whatever you guys want to set it as, and I think that's very fun for setting up your Halloween themed one-shot. It asks you some questions in the book, you just answer them, go find some yokai off the website. They have yokai in the back of the book, but if they're not to your taste, you can always go to the website, find some yokai, homebrew some stats. I mean, even if you're not good at homebrewing, since the system's so rules light, you could easily make new homebrew stats for the creatures. I gotta say, even though I rated this fairly low on my system tier list video, I did write a lot of yokai hunter stuff for it, and I might post it to my Reddit. I might make some public PDF or something and post it to my Reddit. I went through and made all the character sheets, so I'll definitely put the character sheets on the Reddit. There's my Reddit show for the video, but go check the Reddit if you're interested in getting Yokai Hunter Society. It's like $10 on Amazon, maybe $15, and again, the book's only 30 pages. It might be less than $10 actually, I don't know. Not sponsored. So if you want a very rules-light system where you can go and meld the rules, homebrew stuff real easily to your liking, and you want a more heavy role-playing system, there is combat. It's deadly. If you fight a very dangerous demon, or not demon, but yokai. Even if you don't fight the yokai, you can still set up an experience that's very haunting, I guess. It tells you in the front of the book that this is mostly, it's kind of like Call of Cthulhu. It's kind of just an horror investigation RPG, but you can make it combat, you can make it whatever you want. That's all I'm going to say about it for your Halloween one-shot. Those were the 3 systems. That's it. Alien, Call of Cthulhu, and Yokai Hunter Society. Check the books out at your own leisure, read the reviews, read up on the system, watch some videos on YouTube, whatever you need to make your decision. I think these are going to provide a much better experience than 5e, but again, if that's your thing, if Death House is your Halloween one-shot and you and your guys love it, but if your group wants something new, I recommend checking out these videos for your Halloween RPG party or whatever have you. You can always make a campaign out of all these books, so even if it doesn't turn out to be a good Halloween one-shot, you can always go on and make a campaign from these books. That's it. Check out the Twitter for any more updates, and check out the Reddit so you can go on there and post your own things, and I read everything on the Reddit, on the Twitter. I won't show the email because I only do the email for RPG horror stories, but if you want to send me an email, it's down there in the description of the video, and that's it. That's everything. I hope you gobs have a lot of a day and get planning. Halloween's around the corner. Don't let a witch catch you and put you in their caustic brew.